Welcome. Today I'm going to talk about the joint pain that many women seem to experience midlife. It starts to escalate midlife and then beyond that. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit from the Western perspective. I'm going to talk about it from the gut and stress perspective and a little bit from the Eastern medicine perspective, and then what you can do about it, because that's so important. So welcome. My name is Angela Warburton. I am an Eastern medicine practitioner by trade. I focus on midlife and menopause. I have a background in Western nutrition, health sciences, from the Western side, psychology, and then deep training on Eastern medicine. So I really like to pull all my different wisdom together to help you understand what your body's saying, why things are changing around midlife and menopause, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Because I am a midlife woman, I'm postmenopausal many years now, and I see so many women complaining about the same or showing up with the same things. And even though they're common, it doesn't mean they're inevitable. Menopause is not a time where we're just destined to feel really crappy, and there you go, and that's the rest of it. I guess this is it. It's more of a sign of imbalance that's going to really show up more significantly during this transition. So it's your body talking to you, telling you what's off of balance. And when you are able to listen and understand what it's saying, and then holistically tend to that part of you through food, through lifestyle, through emotions. If you choose to do HRT, that can be part of it, but it's not the only answer. You're going to start to feel better. And really, in Eastern medicine, we call this stage of life the second spring. So it's about a rebirth. It's about a stripping away the stuff that isn't working anymore and stepping into the life that is most exciting for you, really, and that you do have energy for. And if we keep trying to operate in the way that we were in the past, we're going to feel bad and our body's going to start getting louder and louder and louder with its symptoms. So just that seed for you there. But let's talk about joint pain because it's a real thing and it can affect quality of life. It can affect so much. So there is general wear and tear as we age, and osteoarthritis can be a common condition as the cartilage wears down. But there are many people that show up with osteoarthritis on a scan, but they don't have any pain. So why is that? So we really want to look at the other things that are affecting the joint pain. So one of the keys is inflammation, that as a root cause. Chronic inflammation can be a huge contributor to joint pain. And what I've noticed is a lot of inflammation, the root of that is coming from our gut. So there is a connection between gut inflammation and joints. So a leaky gut, if you will, allows undigested food particles or particles that are too big to leak out into our bloodstream, along with toxins or bacteria, triggering the body to say, hey, that's not what we're supposed to have. This is actually a foreign body. So it increases inflammation as a protective measure. And that can worsen joint conditions like arthritis. So if we want to backtrack and get to the root of it, we have to understand and look at why the gut is leaky, what's happening. And there's a ton. I just did a whole series on that. I'm going to put a link in the show notes if you're interested in exploring that, because the gut is the root of everything from inflammation to mental health to immune system. So there's a ton there, and painful joints is part of this. So that can be a contributor. And then there can be nutrient deficiencies. So if we're omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, magnesium, if we don't have adequate amounts, they can exacerbate inflammation in our system and actually decrease our body's ability to repair tissue. So that's huge. So we really want to look at the gut as a root, because the gut, and basically the only reason we're here and the energy we have in the blood and the minerals and vitamins to get through the world and to be a vibrant human being comes from the food that we eat and our body's ability to break it down. And that's it. It's not coming out of somewhere else. It's actually coming from that. So any kind of gut dysbiosis that is going to release these pro-inflammatory molecules, and that's going to make everything feel worse. There can be some hormonal shifts, definitely. Estrogen is a very juicy hormone. It's a buffer. It has natural anti-inflammatory properties, and that supports healthy joints, healthy cartilage. And in menopause, the estrogen decreases. This isn't a bad thing. We're supposed to have this. We have flatline, when we're young, we go through puberty. Woohoo! We get all these hormones. We get a cycle if we're a menstruating woman. And then we go back to flatline because the body is programmed for longevity, takes a lot of energy to have a cycle every month. So it says we're just going to stop doing that, wasting energy that way, and we're going to, reprioritize our energy. If we've been living out of balance, we're what I call a hormonal overdraft, basically. We don't have enough estrogen because our estrogen has been converted. We've been using that juicy hormone to produce more cortisol, which is our get shit done hormone. So if we run out of our circulating cortisol and we're still like not resting, not stopping, shoving so much stuff in our day to get it done, our body is going to use non-essential, essentially, hormones like estrogen, testosterone, and transfer them and convert them into cortisol. So that leaves us with an estrogen deficiency, and that can cause more problems and strain on our joints because we don't have enough estrogen to be protective. So that will increase inflammation and contribute to cartilage deterioration as well. And progesterone is one of the first hormones that we see that decreases around in perimenopause, around 35. And progesterone is really important for overall tissue repair, has major anti-inflammatory effects. It helps with our sleep, all these different really restorative components, if you will, and replenishing. So that can be a link as well. And we tend to we have less collagen production as we age. Collagen is a key structural protein in the joints, and that decreases with age. So we lose elasticity. We know this sometimes, and we don't have as much resiliency or kind of that bounciness in our tissues and ligaments and tendons. Luckily, there are things that we can do to absolutely build that. And as we age, there's just a slower turnover of cells. We're just not little kids, they're just growing, 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 growing. This is a really random fact I'm going to tell you. If a child under 7, for whatever horrible reason that happened, but if they had their finger that was cut off, the finger would actually regrow. You don't have to sew it back on. It's going to regrow because they have so many stem cells that are just in growth mode. So we kind of hit a peak and then we start to decline. This is just the aging process. This is a cycle of life. So our cell tissue doesn't turn over as well, as fast. And so that makes things slower to heal. So sometimes we're like, you might have gotten a sprain in the past and a couple of days we're back out, up and at it, but we're not feeling the same things as we age, and it can take longer. If we're not getting nourished, if we're not resting properly, if we have high stress, that's going to make everything even slower to heal as well. And stress is a huge component of inflammation, of keeping those cortisol levels high. Cortisol promotes inflammation. It can degrade connective tissue. As I said, our body is going to take any kind of usable substance that's not a survival hormone and use that if we have chronic stress. And your body doesn't know the difference between getting out of the way of a fast-moving car, running from a bear, or opening your computer to too many emails and shoving too much in your day so you're stressed out all the time. The body's just there for survival. So stress is a huge component as well. Eastern medicine, and the other thing too around that, just with stress, often it affects our sleep. And sleep is where we repair tissue. This is when we rest, when we repair, when we get our energy, we replenish our energy. So if we're not sleeping well, then that can compound joint issues and pain and inflammation as well. In Eastern medicine, we like to break it down even further. We don't just lump everyone together, but we look at the patterns. We're always looking for other signs that tell us what's going on. So in particular for joint pain, is categorized as under something called B syndrome, but it's we have different types. So we have a cold pattern. So this is more pain that's fixed, that's severe. It worsens with cold weather. It improves with warmth. And we'd say this is often linked to like what we call a yang deficiency. So if you're someone who's like great in the summer and all of a sudden winter hits and you're just in so much pain or you feel you need to warm up all the time, this would be more of a cold pattern. With this, you want to make sure that you do warm things. If you're someone who's got a cold pattern, feels worse in cold weather, but you're eating cold foods, you're having anything with ice in it, if you're eating raw foods, that's actually going to make that system worse internally. Obviously, with cold things that feel better with warmth, you want to do warm compresses. You can do rubs and things with like ginger or cayenne pepper and put that over the joints. That can be really helpful as well. There's another pattern called the damp syndrome. So this is more, you would see this more with swelling, with heaviness, pain often associated with humid or rainy climates. You are the people who are like, it's going to rain in 3 days from now. I know now because my knee is achy. So that would be more of a damp pattern. So dampness is like puffiness. It's like a boggy internal bog, if you will. And so this it obstructs the free flow of chi, circulating energy, and blood in the body. So with these conditions, you want more drying things. You want to not put yourself in damp environments. People who live in Vancouver, in Canada, it rains all the time. It's going to feel worse there versus Arizona. These people often feel great in like a desert climate. So making sure you're not eating foods that are going to exacerbate that. That could be dairy foods. Dairy tends to be very cold and dampening versus things like cinnamon and cardamom that can be a little more drying and warming. Then you might have a heat pattern. So heat, if you burn your hand or something, it's going to be red. These patterns, when you have a joint pain that's more of a heat pattern, it's going to be accompanied by redness. It might be hot to the touch. You might get swelling. There's more heat in the system. This often is related to yin deficiency or just too much heat in the system. So with this pattern, you don't want to be having really spicy food, warming foods like coffee, alcohol, any kind of processed foods, things that are high sugar. These are going to be more heating in the body and going to make this a lot worse. So you want to keep things to very neutral, simple foods, lots of lightly cooked vegetables, rices sort of more neutral. That would be a great way to nourish the inside and definitely avoid hot environments. And then we have another one it's related to what we call a wind. It's migrating pain that shifts all over the body and locations. And we're getting a little more technical, but that's one that we see in the body. Underlying these two, we'd say it's a liver system and a kidney system that will be in balance. The liver system governs our tendons in the body, nourishment. Liver is the system that shows up a lot with stress. So if you get tightness in your shoulders, occipital tension headaches, you have IBS, or you're constantly constipated or getting you're finding that you can't get a deep breath in, you're irritable all the time. This can be a sign of the liver system imbalance. There's more to it, but that just gives you some ideas. So you want to really help to nourish and calm that system down. So that means decreasing stress. There's a theme here. You got it. And then the other one is kidney. So the kidney governs the bones. So a lot of times if people are getting achy bones and knees in particular, low back pain, that can be a sign the kidney system is depleted. This is more related to our adrenal glands. I call it your bank account of energy. And if you've been living well and just making those little deposits into your bank account, you feel good. But if you've been slowly but surely just taking money out, no, that's, I'll just go for lunch. I'll just buy that cute dress. I'll just, oh, here's money, just spending little bits. You go into what I call overdraft. And so that is where we've overused that energy and we're operating out of overdraft. And that's where we're going to see more things like low back pain, joint pain. Just a note on low back pain, just a lot of women get a lot of low back achiness when they're first going through perimenopause or menopause, mostly menopause. And what we don't talk about is we have these broad ligaments that actually connect to the low back that are connected to the ovaries and the uterus. And when we go through menopause, our uterus, ovaries, they shrink in size. And so it actually pulls on those broad ligaments. So some of this is normal as your body gets used to different organs. Your uterus is a different size. And so doing gentle stretching, restorative yoga is a great way to get more movement. Your body gets to relax in a very supported pose for a long time and just go, ah. That is it's both healing for the adrenals and for the nervous system, but also helps to create more circulation, blood flow in the body, and can be really helpful for joint pain, low back pain, and stiffness in the body. And yeah, so I think that's what I wanted to say. So, what really the most important things, making sure you're getting nourishment, proper nourishment, eating a healthy diet, that's going to help. Anti-inflammatory diet can be really helpful. So this is decreasing stimulants, decreasing processed food, things that have a lot of toxins, increasing diversity, healthy oils, fish, basically really natural food as much as you can. That's going to be really helpful. Move. You want to not have a sedentary lifestyle. lifestyle, but you want to find the right movement for you if you are feeling joint pain. So you want movement's going to lubricate the joints. You don't want to over exercise because that will stress your system out, but you don't want to, and you want to move and you don't want to sit for too long. And definitely avoid, so Mediterranean diet I talked about. Definitely look at if you're relating to the stress component, manage your stress. I'm going to put some links in below. Strengthen your gut because that really is the root of so much inflammation, and then building blocks to protect your joints. I love bone broth or vegan bone broth. You can use supplements, different supplements as well, and turmeric, glucosamine, omega-3s really can be really helpful. In Chinese medicine, we have a whole slew of herbs depending on the pattern that you're coming up with. So if you want to know more, I've got links below. You can always reach out to me. And hopefully this was helpful. It was a long one. It felt like a long one. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Joint pain is common, not inevitable. All right, if you like this video, hit like. If you want more, subscribe. If you know anyone who's got joint pain that would really like this, please forward it on to them. I'm here to serve and help as much as I can. And I take requests. So please send your requests. I'm here to give you what you need and support you. Okay, have a beautiful day or evening. I will see you next time.